Hello everyone! After flying the Mobula 6 2024 edition around for another, what's it been, 8 or 9 days since I posted my review, I would have to estimate somewhere between 120-ish flights, maybe 150. I don't really keep track. I have a number of batteries. Actually, I was going to buy some more batteries, but I mentioned Tiny Whoop and WeBleed, and then Tiny Whoop sold out like the next day after my video launched. But thankfully, I was able to get some more batteries from WeBleed FPV. Got another 16 pack, so I had 30 batteries that I could charge and fly that were real fresh and new. But I wanted to go through, or I thought it might be useful to go through some things that I've maybe left out of my review video, and kind of some things I've learned since that review video. By the way, the only damage I really have still is on my final flight. I hit the ceiling and then bounced off the floor. Camera's dead. So unfortunately, that's the one thing on mine that has died. That is a question that comes up quite a bit, is about durability. You know, we've really only got our components of motors, all-in-one, and camera. In my case, I think the motors are still fine. It looks like I've got a little something stuck underneath a prop, maybe a little piece of grass or something. But my motors seem to be working fine. They don't seem to be bent out of shape or anything like that. All-in-one is working fine, but the camera did die. If you look real closely, you'll see on this side, right over here, right by my fingernail, see that little stress point on the canopy? Now that could have been there in my review video, but I've noticed since then, and my camera also leans a little bit in that direction. So again, I've got a stress point right here in my canopy, and I think my camera is leaning just slightly in that direction, probably from bouncing off the floor too many times upside down. Battery holder, which I oftentimes break on the older frames, still holding together just fine. But as far as what my review video, if you didn't see that, by the way, you should probably go back and watch that if you're looking for more details. This is kind of just a shortened follow-up. So one of the things I mentioned in the review video is I felt like the components, the power to weight ratio and all those things were really, really good. But it didn't feel like it had quite the Happy Model PID tune that I'm normal to or feel. And so several people in the comment section had noted that others were trying the Karate tune. So I tried that, and I started tinkering with that. Kind of maybe made things better for a little bit, then made things worse. Went back to the default tune, and then I tried a UAV Tech Tiny Whoop preset from Betaflight and tinkered with that one a little bit more. And I ended up going back to the Karate tune and leaving all the PIDs essentially where they were and just using the master slider and cranking that up just a touch. 2 notches, I think, from the default position to the right, that is, on the master slider. And that's kind of where it is. Now, I'm going to show you a flight here shortly, and that's, I think, the second to last flight that I had on this before the camera died. I'm not going to, just throw this away now by any chance. So I'm going to either get a replacement camera or put a camera in that I just have around, probably the run cam camera. But let's take a look at a comparison that I put together between the FXT camera, which is on the right, and the run cam Nano 3, and that is with the most current lens, the one that has the notches in the sides of it. And we can, by the way, that one's, I'll have it labeled, but it's on the left. The field of view on the FXT camera is definitely wider. Looks like the quad that I've got with the run cam camera in it isn't quite sitting flat, but it's definitely a wider field of view overall. But I do think the picture is more clear, oddly enough, in the run cam camera. And the run cam camera is going to come in a touch lighter as well. So just as a proof of concept, that was the camera I was testing in that side-by-side view between this one and the FXT camera. But I'm not going to be weighing this exact version because I don't have one loose. What I do have in the run cam is the original lens. One of the rare original lenses. These ones, my recollection is they're better. But let's go ahead. Of course, I've got a touch of wire here, but on the original FXT camera, I've got a touch of wire on it as well. So Runcam Nano V3, 1.25 grams, and the FXT 1.94 grams. So this camera is a ½ gram more. And it does look, if we both have holes in it, but the holes are different sizes. Hopefully that's coming through on camera. So we could potentially still use the run cam camera and the screw mounting that is built into that canopy and just clip off the front nose that doesn't actually provide any protection. That's if you wanted to. I'm not suggesting you do that. It's if you wanted to. I should note that, yeah, I did change props during my process, and we'll get to that when we look at the flight footage. And just for curiosity, this is the Caddx Ant Lite, another pretty good camera for whoops. And that one comes in at 1.75 grams. So pretty surprising that this one with connectors, but it doesn't have the wires. So maybe that evens out when you take out the connectors and you add the wires. You know, 1.94 on the stock camera without wires, 175 for the Caddx Ant. So might be something to consider. Of course, mounting is going to be problematic because you don't have any screw holes in here. But you know, you can DIY something up. Speaking of DIY, I do have another flight controller. This is the Super X. This is not the HD version. This is the same one that came with the Mobula 6. Let's go ahead and remove the antenna. So without the antenna, let's say you're going to do your own custom antenna. Without the antenna, we got it zeroed out still. The all-in-one flight controller weighs 3.49 grams. Whoops. And with the antenna, we're coming in just a touch under 4 grams. Zeroed out. So the stock antenna comes in at a half gram. And for anybody who wanted a closer look at that, here is the USB port, or the bottom side of the board. And here is the top side of the board. So something else that I started experiencing more and more, and I think we saw it in my original review video, is I've got one motor that's not spinning up all the time on a fresh battery plug-in or after a crash. And so I popped into BlueJay, so we can see here it does have BlueJay installed. It's got 0.19 is the version that they've got installed on here. You can also see the version type, the OH5. But I was surprised to find the minimum startup power is maxed out at 1125. So that caught me off guard a little bit because that was one of the things I was going to do. You know, you got a sputtering motor, crank up the startup power a notch or two and test it out again is one of the recommended troubleshooting steps. But that doesn't seem to be an option for us because it's already maxed out. So that does cause me a bit of concern. It could be something else going on with my particular all-in-one or the particular motor, but I've experienced that a fair bit, and I think we saw it in the review video at that part where I crashed underneath, outside, underneath that chair by the what we call the cabana, kind of the outdoor cook living space. And I thought there might be a possibility that a leaf had gotten stuck in one of the motors. I don't think so. I think I've got one ESC and or motor that's just not wanting to start up. So I just kind of have to live with that until at some point in time, either the motor or the ESC gives up, but who does know how long that's going to be. Could be quite a long while yet. As we move into the flight that I wanted to show you in this video, we're going to see the motor not start up after a crash here in about 2 seconds. Yep, wanged it right into the stool and flip it over, and then I go to take off, and you can see I've got my business shoes on, my red tennies. So we're not able to take off right away, so after arming and disarming, I think it's twice here, and then I'm able to take off. So again, this is back on the karate tune, and it is with these new HQ props. It's kind of where I was last at in the last stages before the camera gave up. Of course, I'm not going to stop flying it, as I said. I'm just going to either get another camera when they become available, or in the meantime, maybe I'll just put a different camera on it altogether and continue to fly and have fun. And one of the things that you might remember from my original review video that I've already mentioned here is that I felt like there was just a little bit off, and I've come to the conclusion that it's not off. It's not that the PID tune isn't good. There have been many other reviews, so you can get many opinions about the PID tune and how it flies. I think the power to weight ratio is really outstanding for 65 millimeters. I think, especially for anybody who wants high-end performance from a 65 millimeter prop, there's really no better way to go right now, especially in the case of a bind and fly. You know, if you build and you have an affinity for one particular all-in-one or a motor or something like that, that's certainly up to you. But I think my problem was I was looking for 75 millimeter, 40 millimeter prop flight performance and flight feel out of a 65 millimeter, and I just don't. It was silly for me to think that way. Not that I was cognizant of my thought, but I think because I fly so many 75 millimeter, 40 millimeter prop whoops, I think that was actually what I was thinking of when I thought that the PID tune wasn't quite where I was expecting it. It's just the performance that you can get out of 75 millimeter is so greater, and yeah, it was fun to explore that, but I think I came to that resolution after I kind of got towards the tail end here in the last 8, 9, 10 days of flying this thing and working on it, that I'm not going to find what I'm looking for. That's the short version. I guess a theory could be that I have a bias for 75mm whoops with 40mm props, and I was trying to make this 65mm with 31mm props fly like that, and that's just not going to happen. But a big upside, as you may be able to tell already, is, I didn't change the weight all that much. We're down at 17.5 grams by my changing out the props, and I did do Rennie screws on the bottom side. Those are available from Beta FPV, as well as I think We Bleed FPV and Tiny Whoop. They all carry those Rennie screws. Drop the weight from the metal screws that we used to mount our motors. So I didn't change the weight all that much. But changing the props, of course, this is a personal preference. So those HQ light props get us quite a bit more flight time. I think my review video I had 2 minutes and 41 seconds. And in this video, we're going to have 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And the battery is going to be in better shape than it was in my review video. So regardless of how you fly, it seems as though a PID tune and a prop change, like I have here with the Karate Betaflight preset and the HQ props. Of course, again, GemFan has their own light props, which I had not gotten a chance to fly. But yeah, battery at 353 and the flight time at 3 minutes and 10 seconds, so 30 more seconds of flight time. So to tack on what I've already said previously about this being available, there are some shops that already show this listed. Now that I am relatively certain is just pre-order, so don't get your hopes up if you go and place an order from Makerfire or Banggood that it's going to ship anytime soon. My understanding is they won't have them at least much before the 10th. Because those shops are over in China, so they'll probably get them first because it's just a short delivery. But our FPV shops outside of the Far East, it'll probably take some more time. Bigger packages probably going to those FPV shops. I guess it might take longer to ship too. I don't know. Maybe they use a different shipping method because it's bulk shipping. Who knows? But we probably won't see them at our FPV shops near us, whether you're in the U.S. or not, until much later in the month of March. I will go ahead and link the Makerfire and Banggood sites if you want to look at their prices down in the video description. Maybe it's handy for you to order from them because you're relatively close. Maybe you're over in Europe or something close to them to where it's viable. As far as the price goes, that's the last bit of information that I have for you, and I'm afraid it's not good news. So this will probably introduce still at $115. But Happy Model told me that they're expecting to have a chip shortage. Now, whether Happy Model makes this all-in-one or they have another manufacturer, again, I don't know. But that was some information that I got about the time that my review video came out, whether that's trying to brace the market for price increases or if that's a way of creating hysteria over you better buy it first. I don't know. Those are both possibilities. There's probably other possibilities, but it is something to think about. I haven't been misguided by Happy Model too often, so I kind of had leaned towards trusting that. And if it affects Happy Model, it will certainly probably affect our other manufacturers. Maybe we won't see those same sort of price changes right away, but it'll, if true, it could come. And that's, it kind of stinks right now. It's prices are just always going up, and this quad introducing at $115 I thought was a really good value, outside of it just being really fun to fly. But at $115 it was a really good value, and it doesn't seem like that price is going to stick around for very long, whether it's an actual chip shortage or just, in economics, when demand and price intersect, then you move price up so that your demand is met at a higher price. If that's going on as well. But I did want to mention that just in case, take that with a grain of salt. I am not an economist by any stretch, nor am I attached in some way to the market that makes these chips or the ASICs that go on our little quads. I'll throw that out there. But again, if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise, please let me know. Oh, I didn't test the RF performance on this because I don't have an RF meter. I've been looking for the last year to try to get one. Is Immersion RC making those things anymore, the little RF meters? Because every time I look, they're always sold out. And I don't know if they're making them anymore. I thought maybe since Immersion merged with Orca, maybe they've moved on to better profit marginal products or something like that. I don't know. So let me know if you know whether Immersion RC is still making those and you've seen them available, because I've been looking to get one, but that's why I didn't test the RF output. But I should take the time before I end the video officially. MoeFPV, if you're not aware of MoeFPV, he's got his own channel and he loves micros as well, so I'll link his channel down below. He did a review video on the Mobula 6 2024, did some really cool indoor flying, and he does have an RF meter, so if you're looking for that RF meter output stuff, go over to MoeFPV's channel. By the way, Mo, great video, enjoyed watching that quite a bit. I don't want to spoil it, but everybody should go watch over there as well. So the outro again, if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise, please let me know in the comment section below. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching.